Faith-based story. Title: The Guiding Tracks of Faith. In a quaint little town named Providence Hollow, nestled within the rolling hills of the countryside, there lived a woman named Abigail. She was known far and wide for her unwavering faith and her commitment to raising her child, a daughter named Sarah, in the way she should grow. Providence Hollow was a place where time seemed to slow down, and the rhythms of life revolved around the church and the railroad that ran through the heart of the town. Abigail, a widow, had been left to navigate life's journey alone with young Sarah. She often found solace in her faith, leaning on her beliefs as she watched Sarah grow into a curious and kind-hearted child. The church was the centerpiece of their lives, a warm and welcoming place where Abigail had been baptized and where Sarah had been dedicated as an infant. Abigail believed that the tracks of their faith would guide them through life's twists and turns. One crisp Sunday morning, Abigail and Sarah made their way to the church for the weekly service. The town had recently buzzed with excitement, for the renowned preacher, Reverend Benjamin, had arrived to deliver a special sermon on faith and the power of guidance. Providence Hollow's church was a simple yet inviting structure, with stained glass windows that told stories of faith and salvation. The pews were filled with eager faces, and the atmosphere was palpably charged with anticipation. Reverend Benjamin was known for his inspiring sermons, and this Sunday was no exception. He stood at the pulpit, his voice resonating through the church as he spoke of the importance of raising children in the ways of faith. He shared a verse from Proverbs 22:6, "Train up a child in the way she should go, and when she is old, she will not depart from it." The congregation listened intently, but it was Sarah, sitting beside her mother, who was particularly struck by these words. The message reverberated deep within her young heart. After the service, she tugged at her mother's dress. "Mommy, what does it mean to train me up in the way I should go?" Abigail smiled at her inquisitive daughter and said, "It means to teach you the values, principles, and love that come from our faith, so that as you grow, you'll always have a guiding light, like the tracks of a train, to lead you through life's journey." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. From that moment, the concept of being led by the tracks of faith resonated with her. It became a foundation upon which her character was built, as she embarked on the path of growing up in a way that honored the teachings of her faith. As the years passed, Providence Hollow remained a tranquil and tight-knit community, but the world outside was changing rapidly. Technology was advancing, and the old railroad that ran through the town had become an emblem of nostalgia, with fewer travelers using it. Abigail saw this as an opportunity to impart an important lesson to Sarah. One summer afternoon, she took Sarah to the abandoned train station. They gazed at the rusty tracks, and Abigail began to explain the parallels between the tracks of faith and the forgotten railway. Just like these tracks, which may have lost their purpose, the values and beliefs we hold dear can sometimes seem outdated in the world's eyes. But they are like the sturdy rails of a train, guiding us through life's journey. Sarah nodded and looked at the tracks with newfound appreciation. Her mother's wisdom stuck with her as she navigated the challenges of adolescence, always mindful of her upbringing in faith. She was often tempted by the fast-paced world outside Providence Hollow, but the tracks of faith remained her guiding light. In her teenage years, Sarah faced a pivotal moment. The allure of a prestigious college far from home was a tempting prospect, but it meant leaving behind the close-knit community and her mother's guidance. Sarah wrestled with the decision, seeking guidance from her faith and her mother's teachings. Abigail, seeing the struggle in her daughter, reminded her of a verse from the Bible, Proverbs 3:5-6, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths." Sarah chose to stay in Providence Hollow, enrolling in the local college. Her faith was her anchor, and her mother's guidance was the gentle hand that steadied her. As Sarah delved into her studies and embraced her community, she found a sense of purpose that transcended worldly ambitions. Years went by, and Sarah's faith continued to guide her, just as the tracks of the old railroad guided the trains of yesteryear. She became a pillar of the community, helping those in need, and sharing her faith with others through her actions. Sarah had become the embodiment of the proverb, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children," Proverbs 13:22. One spring day, as Sarah was walking home from the church, she noticed a group of teenagers who seemed lost and disheartened. She approached them and offered a warm smile, inviting them to a youth group meeting at the church. She knew that, just as she had been guided by her mother and her faith, these young souls needed a path to follow. The youth group became a haven for these teens, providing them with a sense of belonging and guidance in a world full of uncertainty. Sarah's unwavering faith and her mother's teachings had a ripple effect, as the tracks of faith extended to the next generation. Meanwhile, Abigail, in her later years, continued to be a source of wisdom and love for her daughter and the entire community. Her faith had remained steadfast, even as the town and the world had evolved. She understood that just as the old railroad was preserved as a symbol of the past, their faith was a timeless treasure that would endure. One evening, Abigail took a walk with Sarah, as they often did, and gazed at the now overgrown train tracks. "You see, my dear," she said, "these tracks may be covered in weeds, but they still show us the way. They remind us of where we came from and where we are going." Sarah nodded, her eyes filled with gratitude. She realized that the tracks of faith were not confined to the physical world, they transcended time and space, guiding her through the challenges and joys of life. As the years passed, the legacy of faith and guidance in Providence Hollow continued to thrive. The church, once a cornerstone of their lives, now stood as a testament to the power of faith, community, and the enduring legacy of Abigail and Sarah. In the end, the town's old railroad may have faded into the past, but the tracks of faith remained eternally relevant, leading generations forward, just as they had guided Abigail, Sarah, and their beloved community. Providence Hollow was a living testament to the enduring power of faith, and the belief that if you train up a child in the way she should go, she will find her way, and her faith will be her guiding light through all of life's journeys.